All right, contracts, more contracts. Oh, this is a really long one. Okay, Crabtree versus Elizabeth Arden Sales Corporation. Okay, so, statute of frauds. What is a statute of frauds? It's a generic term for any statute that says contract needs to be in writing. Now, there are a lot of statutes of frauds. They're all a little different, yada, 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 yada. Not everyone can use... None of this is legal advice. Anyway, Restatement Section 110. That's where you want to go. Also, UCC 2-201, but this is not a UCC case. What is a UCC case? If it's for goods, basically. So what is it good? Has to be movable. Employment is not a movable thing, because it's not a thing. Right? So if it can't be moved, it's not a good. Employment is not a thing, so it can't be moved. Right, a man joins a new company, and there's a 2-year contract. There's two things. Right? There's an employment agreement that is signed, and then an employment agreement that is unsigned, and a payroll change card which is signed, initialed or whatever. These both qualify as memorandum, which are required in a statute of fraud, basically writing. The fact that they were prepared after the contract doesn't matter, right? A statute of frauds does not require that at the moment of the contract's conception, there is a writing. Just that a writing gets made, right? It's basically saying, ultimately, the statute of frauds purpose is to prevent fraud. And it's saying you can't enforce a contract that there's no written proof of. In this case, there is written proof, even if it was made after the contract was agreed to, right? So memorandums can be several documents, and they don't need to be signed, right? In this case, there's a document that refers to the length of the contract. That would be the employment agreement. It's not signed, right? But the view of the court is that if one document is signed and the documents all refer to the similar or same subject matter, that is sufficient to prove connection, right? Especially because these are all coming from the plaintiff, right? So, So the statute of fraud is it's used to undo a contract, right? It's used as a defense. You can't invoke the statute of frauds if, look, we have a written memorandum from you that says there was a contract, or a written memorandum that you signed, right? So again, you don't have to sign every single piece of paper related to the contract. You just have to sign something, and then other stuff that's kind of similar to it can get drawn in. The default under common law is you don't need to have it written. A statute needs to come down saying you do. And that doesn't override anything. It doesn't change any of the other rules. It just adds a new one, that things need to be in writing. Okay? All right. And there we go.